In this video, I will give tips and recommendations to help you become the greatest sushi striker you possibly can be. Everything in this video you can learn in-game, but if you don't want to dig deep into the ins and outs of the game, this guide is for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, the most important and crucial advice I could give you is prioritizing your sushi plates. If you go to your Sushi Sprites menu and tab over, you will see this menu. These are the sushi that your Sushi Sprite will give you during your match and during a Sushi Jubilee. Whew, say that 5 times fast. The strategy I used was simple. I made a list of what sushi was most ideal to stack. If red plates were abundant during the match, I would be more likely to stack them over others. If the RNG was not bringing the red plates, I would switch to blue, which was the next most abundant plate that I had. I would follow suit with this and so on and so forth. The higher stacks, the quicker I got a Sushi Jubilee, and I was able to follow the same system for the brief time during the Sushi Jubilee. This was also extremely helpful for certain star challenges, such as eating a certain amount of your favorite sushi or linking a certain amount of plates. While we're on the topic, I'll move on to my next point. You should be going back to max out all of your rankings and all of your star challenge on each level. The first zone I attempted to get all 3 stars on every level. The biggest mistake I made when I did this was to attempt multiple stars on each level at once. This is a fool's errand and should be avoided. Some of them can be done, but you gain XP for every match you complete. This helps you out in strides in later zones. Essentially, every star challenge is a handicap in some way to the match. If you handicap yourself too much, you may just lose the match regardless if you completed the star challenges or not. So take your time and complete one at a time. The rankings is a no-brainer. Getting that Rainbow S rank on any level is a win-win for you. The higher the rank, the better chance of you getting an item. Those charms do not come around very often and are super useful. You also gain XP and are required for potential players, which are very useful for getting rare Sushi Sprites. The third thing I want to get may be a little bit biased, but I think you should avoid certain Sushi Sprites, at least during the story mode. It is very clear certain Sushi Sprites are great against you, but would be horrible against the AI. I did a few tests against the AI, spanning a few different zones, using Sushi Sprites that hinder the screen, and it doesn't seem like it matters. These sprites are clearly intended for player versus player battles. I highly recommend putting these sprites on reserve if you intend on playing online, but if you like the hindrance style, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm a big fan of Kamao, the Wasabi Weasel, but if you want to get through the story mode, I recommend going through Sushi Sprites in this order. Number 1, linking plants is the most important thing in this game. It's the whole concept of the game. And even give you your first Sushi Sprites, Genrai, who is possibly the best Sushi Sprite in the game, and also the mascot of the game, with the best skill, Sushi Bonanza. Also, if you don't like him, I'd highly recommend Suno with the ability Plate Jumper. Dealing damage is, I believe, the second most important thing to do. I learned very early, the less time you spend on a match, the better ranks and XP you get. In my mind, the best defense is a brutal offense. Tagazo is by far the poster boy of extra damage, but late game, Kumatin may be better, so look into him as well. Defending. I didn't use it very often, but when I did, it was on boss battles. Elikin simply may be the best one, but I haven't sunk my teeth really into this playstyle yet, but if I had to choose one, Elikin would be the best to go with. And lastly is the healing or the hindrance level. Like I said, this is, I may be biased, but I just don't see this being useful in the story mode. It may be the bee's knees online, but I've never used healing or hindrance Sushi Sprites until I beat the main story. But since then, I'm a fan of Kamao and Helzo for hindrance, and healing I went with Sutin. I booted Penzo the Penguin almost immediately after I got enough Sushi Sprites to not use him anymore, so that's just, once again, my own opinion. And my final and last piece of advice is sticking with your controls. This may be a personal thing, but I struggle quite a bit bouncing between touchscreen, handheld, Joy-Cons, Pro Controller, etc. I've narrowed it down to either the handheld mode or using the Joy-Con controller. My muscle memory is now adapted to the Joy-Cons, which has helped me massively. So play around, figure out what works for you. And so that's it. My quick summary of everything I said is prioritize your sushi plates, max your star challenges and your rankings, don't use PvP Sushi Sprites, and find the right controls for you. So that's all I got for you for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll have a new video coming to you guys next Friday. Have a good one.